Ali LaForce of CBS Sports is here with us now. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So in your piece, you mentioned that she'd been taking it for 10 years. How did she or anybody on her team not know it was banned starting this year?
It blows my mind. It's really hard to believe. And, at first I thought, well, if she didn't check that list when it came through in her email, she said, oh, I just didn't click on it. That initially made me think that maybe she's innocent, because if you were taking a banned substance, if you were taking a performance-enhancing drug, the first thing I would be doing is clicking on that list and trying to find out if it was listed on it. However, it's very hard to believe that somebody that she worked with, whether it was her doctor, her agent, anybody on her team, isn't monitoring this closely. I mean, this is a drug that is very commonly used by Eastern European athletes. That has been on the radar for a couple of years now. She's not the first or the last to be caught using this, and there's many benefits of it for athletes. So it should have been on someone's radar, and that's a great question. It's hard to believe.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about this. Meldonium, what is it supposed to be used for? She said she has health issues, that's why she's been using it for 10 years.
Right.
What is it typically used for?
Well, it's interesting. I've been reading about it. I'm obviously not a doctor, so I can't speak exactly to it, but it's for heart conditions, severe heart conditions, and the benefits for an athlete are endurance and helping increase your recovery time. And those are two things that athletes are always looking to improve on, and it sounds very enticing if you are one, and it's not on the ban list.
How many other athletes have failed tests because of this drug?
I don't know the exact number of athletes, but there have been some really big names recently in the last couple of weeks who have been caught with this, just because it's just been recently added to the banned substance list. So a lot of European athletes specifically.
So we don't know what's going to happen with her, but what are some of the things that tennis's governing body might be considering? Is the fact that she said, oopsie, I didn't know, could that be something that could work in her favor or against?
Well, I think what we were talking about earlier is really important to consider your intent. And, they're going to have to speak to the doctors and figure out if this was something that she needed from a medical perspective, or if this is something that, the doctor may have prescribed to her as a favor. And those are two completely different scenarios and situations. I think it does help her that she's been taking it since 2006, but you have to take full responsibility for what you put in your body as an athlete, and especially an athlete that's being scrutinized as much as she's been scrutinized, and when you're one of the biggest faces in all of sports.
Ali, how will her absence affect the world of women's tennis?
She's a superstar.
It's devastating. It really is. I mean, unfortunately for female athletes, there's just a select few that people can name and can recognize just by looking at them, and that people tune in for, and she was one of them. So it's devastating for the sport.
Ali LaForce, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.